Hey there neighbors, Kevin here with eTrailer, and today we're going to be taking a closer look at the Stromberg Carlson Lend-A-Hand Banister RV Handrail here on our 2011 SunnyBrook Brookside Fifth Wheel trailer. So if you're like our neighbor today and you have small kids, or you're just kind of getting a little bit older, or you're someone who likes to enjoy a few beverages when you're out at that campsite, you're going to want a way to get safely in and out of your camper. And unfortunately, the old style handle that they put on all of these campers honestly isn't going to do it for you, because you're only getting about a foot, maybe 15 inches max of handrail here, which doesn't help us on the first two steps going into our trailer. It's only going to help us with that very first step, and it's not helping us at all when we're coming out of the trailer, because it's kind of awkward to put your hand out like this and still walk down, especially if you're carrying things in and out. So swapping out, Stromberg Carlson came up with their Lend-A-Hand Banister Handrail here, and this is going to give us a much larger distance away from our trailer. So going just from the edge of our trailer out, this is right around 33.5 inches, maybe even 34, kind of closer to 34 if we go to the top of our handrail here, versus just the 14 and 5/8 that we're getting with our regular handrail. So the big thing about this is that it's also not going to affect anything else around here. So we no longer have to worry about our handrail hitting anything. Maybe you got an awning right near there. This is going to be real flush profile here. All you have to simply do is just pop it up and it latches itself right into place. Now, taking a look at our steps, you can see that these pull-out steps have seen better days. These are real bent down. These aren't really safe at this point. They obviously need to be replaced. Best option is going to be getting some fold-down steps, and that's kind of leading into the installation here of where I place this. I placed it a little bit higher than what they say, just because I know we are switching over to some fold-down steps, and I wanted to have it right in line with those. So going all the way up, just like I was saying, this is giving me that full strength the entire way up and down my steps, whereas before I didn't have that with that other handle, because it only came out to right about here. So for all those kids out there, I know this is a little bit high just because this is a fifth wheel and it sits a little bit higher, but overall, once they get onto those new steps that we're going to put on, they should have an easy reach to grip onto, and then with the fold down steps, they're going to have a much more solid step to get in and out of the trailer with. Now, this is super simple design. You're simply just going to slide up this inner tubing here. You can latch it right into place when it's time to store it. When it's not, when it's time to actually use it, simply just pull it out, slide that down, locks right into place, and we're all good to go. Nice and solid. Now, brackets, they're going to be a little bit different from top to bottom here. Bottom one is a little bit wider, and that's going to house that clip on there that's going to hold this whole place, hold the whole handrail into place once it's in the stored position. It's going to be 4 screws just down at the bottom there. Super simple to put in, something you can easily do yourself at home. Up top, same deal. You're going to put in 2 screws up top there, 2 screws down below. I've painted over them a little bit too with a paint marker just to kind of keep it matching here so you don't see the stainless steel as much. Could have done a little bit better job on some parts, but I can't get my paint marker fully in there. That'd be something I would definitely probably pick up myself if I was doing this at home. I like to keep everything matching here. But the other thing with this is there is a roll pin inside of this part right here, which you can remove to further extend this a little bit more if you needed it at a different angle. Now, when it comes to these, there are going to be 2 different options. This is the 42-inch option, but there is also a 50-inch. So this one is more so for those trailers where you got 2 to 3 steps, whereas if you had maybe 3 to 4 steps, you're going to want to size up and go with that 50 instead. So now we've gone over some of the specifics with our handrail. Why don't we talk about the installation? This is something that you can definitely do yourself in just a matter of minutes. The old handrails typically are going to require just a Phillips head bit to pull out that lag screw that's in there. From there, all you're going to really need is butyl tape, so that way you can throw it on the back of the brackets, have your hardware go through. You will have to pick up hardware because that is not included with this kit. You'll want to make sure that you get 1.5-inch length screws for the bottom, 1 inch length for the top. And I'm just using some number 14 self-tapping screws. So if you want to, you can go pick up just exactly that amount, screws, 8 total, from your local hardware store. So that way you're all ready to go once you get the handrail, and then you can get it in place. To start off our install, we're going to first have to remove our original door handle here. And to do so, typically it's going to be a Phillips bit to get those bolts out of there. Sometimes you will have a square bit, but for the majority of the time it's going to be that Phillips one. I'll pop out the screws, holding this in place. And then we can pull that away. Now we're going to clean this up. You can see there's the old butyl tape on there, and then just, you know, some gross buildup over time, just because in the bottom of this there is an opening, so stuff can get into there. Looks like some moisture got in there too. So we're going to clean this all up. We're going to wipe it down with some alcohol, and then we're going to fill in these screw holes here because we're not going to be reusing those. That's obviously going to be a different layout compared to our new door handle. Now I'm going to take some RTV sealant here, gasket maker. You could also just use some regular silicone. I'm going to just fill in those holes. Okay, so before we do anything, we do need to get our holes marked out. I'm going to just put it up against the trim right here. What they're wanting you to do is get it towards the bottom of the door frame, and then we also want to get our top part marked out. So at this point, I'm definitely going to grab a level, make sure that I'm getting that top part exactly where I want it. But down below, I can easily take my little punch and mark out my holes, at least on the side, so that way I have a starting point to reference. So I've got my spot there and there. Once we shoot 1 or 2 screws in, this is gonna help hold itself up, and then we can go from there. But like I said, I'm gonna grab a level real quick. We'll get the top spots marked out and then move on to the next part. I'm now gonna put on some butyl tape on the back brackets here for our handle. So we wanna make sure that we're going over the screw holes so that way the butyl tape will wrap itself around the threads on our screws and fill in the hole that we're gonna make drilling into the side, because we don't want any water getting in. So I'm going to put one over this little lower bracket right here that tilts back and forth, and then we've got this bigger bracket up here. You could run it down the entirety of it. I might do that. I'm going to kind of see with the thickness of my butyl tape if that's going to be the better option, or just run it across the 2 screw holes. Realistically, it only needs to be right where the screws are going to go. Now with our butyl tape on, we can go ahead, start shooting in our screws. Make sure you're using the 1-inch ones up top, switching over to the 1.5 on the bottom. Now be careful, these are plastic. They do have a stopping point on them as well, so you don't want to sit there and send the bolt all the way through and tear up the mounting bracket. Once you have 2 on the top and 2 on the bottom, you can then pull this tab out, and that's going to give you some more access, so that way you can get to those other screws. I'm going to get those top 2 first. Well, that's going to do it for our look at and installation of the Stromberg Carlson Lend-A-Hand Banister RV Handrail here on our 2011 SunnyBrook Brookside Fifth Wheel trailer. My name's Kevin, and if you still have some questions about what's going to be the right handrail for your trailer, or you just need some help with the installation, please feel free to reach out to us via our Ask the Experts link, a comment on this video, or a phone call to our customer service department, and we'd be happy to help you out on your journey.